KZN Premier Nomusa Dube-Ncube delivered her second State of the Province address yesterday in Pietermaritzburg. Dube-Ncube started her address by acknowledging the current challenges of a constrained energy and water supply in parts of the province. The KwaZulu-Natal Premier also honed in on the province having the highest number of child grants in the country. She says the province is slowly recovering from numerous deadly floods as well as the 2021 unrest.
Having almost been brought to its knees by the floods, the civil unrest and the global economic challenges, today our economy is back on its feet, gradually addressing the damage, which is estimated to about 33 billion.
Well, did the address deliver, considering the state of the province? Let's now get reaction from Umngeni Municipality Mayor Christopher Pappas. Mayor, good morning. Thank you so much for making time for us. Do you think that the Premier was able to hit all of the right spots and also a true reflection of the state of the province?
Morning, Aldrin. Thank you for having me. No, I was quite disappointed. It was about a 2.5-hour speech that we sat through yesterday in Pietermaritzburg. And it was really, if we put it bluntly, it was an election speech. We were expecting more plans, more practical examples of things that would be done, ideas to solve some of the problems. But it was really an opportunity used for electioneering. It was rehashing statistics from the last 5, 6, 7 years of governance, with very little reflection on solving the very serious challenges that we face as a province. So a little bit disappointing. We are feeling a little bit hopeless, I think generally as South Africans, but as KZN. And we wanted some sort of hope, some sort of guidance, some sort of a leader to provide practical solutions. But that really wasn't forthcoming yesterday.
Yeah. The Premier spoke about some of the strides that have been made, including the appointment of 4 heads of departments, including the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, Public Works, Community Safety, Liaison, Sports and Arts and Culture, but then also going as far as saying that there has been some improvements that have been made in various departments, considering the increase in the number of clean audits from the Auditor General. Is that not a good thing?
Sure, I mean, clean audits are a good thing, but they're not necessarily a reflection of service delivery. Clean audits mean that you've ticked the boxes, and you can tick the boxes without delivering services, and you can tick the boxes while still stealing money. I think there's a misconception of what a clean audit is. But also to congratulate the provincial government for filling, senior vacancies. That's like congratulating someone for doing their job, what they're supposed to do. What we would have wanted to have seen is to say, well, how have we reversed wasteful expenditure? How have we used that money to solve some of the water challenges? What are the concrete plans being put in place to revive the economy, specifically in rural and secondary cities? What's been done by the collapse of eThekwini? It's those sorts of practical things that we would want to have seen instead of, the Premier telling us what they are supposed to be doing in the first place.
Yeah. Also referring then to the state of the economy in the province, the Premier again saying that there have been some strides that have been made, including the issuing of business licenses for businesses that want to work in the province and do business in the province. Do you think, though, that the province has a good business case to make around attracting investment to the province?
So again, Aldrin, I mean, government's job is to issue business licenses and to do it as quick as possible. So to congratulate yourself for doing your job is, it's quite perplexing. But I mean, I don't want to say KZN doesn't have a good business offer. There's a beautiful province with generally good infrastructure and opportunities to grow. But we do have to look at the reality that in many towns and cities, that infrastructure is collapsing, is no longer able to support growth, other than where the private sector is investing into that infrastructure. We have serious water challenges, serious collapse of electricity grids. And it's only through private sector investment that the private sector is actually investing in government infrastructure. So while we have opportunities, the support from government and the economic infrastructure is not so good. We have back of port issues. We have railway lines that have collapsed. So the logistical competitive advantage that we used to have is now being taken over, for example, by the Maputo harbour. the rail is no longer serving the function in which it used to. So while there are opportunities, it's very hard to take advantage of those opportunities because of the supporting ecosystem around those opportunities.
Yeah. I don't know, what is it that you expect the province to do around issues relating to national competency when it comes to logistics, including the rail as well as the ports?
So, I mean, there's a few practical things. So firstly, under a competent provincial government, you could be calling for the devolution of those powers. So a city that is functioning or a provincial government that is functioning would want to or should want to take over the running of ports and rail, because it gives you the ability to immediately intervene and have a more hands-on approach. So we would have wanted to hear the Premier saying, well, we're going to be pushing for devolution, we're going to be pushing for the establishment of localized management agencies within the province, and or public-private partnerships centered around practical solutions to getting those running. The second thing is that we mustn't forget that the Premier is in the same political party as the President and many of these national competencies. So you would have wanted to hear the Premier pushing back to say, well, where these things are failing or where they are not working, that she was going to take a more robust approach to this within the channels of power in Pretoria.
Well, do you welcome the appointment of Michelle Phillips as the permanent CEO of Transnet? Do you think that brings about a bit of stability, at least in the province?
I do think it brings stability, and it is good to have someone who has some experience. Whether or not the political support will come to make the reforms that need to take place within Transnet, time will tell. But we do face a dire situation here in KZN that does require immediate action if we're going to see the Port of Durban remain competitive, as well as the opening up of the markets from the sea to more inland points of sale.
Mayor, this is, of course, an election year, and the Democratic Alliance also contesting elections in KwaZulu-Natal. Some pundits are saying a possibility of pushing the ANC below the 50% plus one threshold. From the Democratic Alliance's side, considering how the state of the province and the opening of the provincial legislature is run in KwaZulu-Natal, where you have the King open up the legislature on the first day, and then on the second day you have the Premier deliver the State of the Province address. Is this a formula that the Democratic Alliance will still continue with if the Democratic Alliance does win the elections in KwaZulu-Natal?
So if I get you correctly, are you asking if we will continue with the King opening the legislature?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. That is something that we do respect, and it is part of our tradition here, and it shows the collaboration between the monarchy here in KZN and the provincial legislature.
Okay, and then the Premier again mentioning that there is a new palace that will be built for King Misuzulu Zwelithini. Is that something that you support as the Democratic Alliance?
So this came as news to us as well. It was the first time that it was tabled. It didn't come with very many details. So we're looking forward to seeing these details. We do understand that the budget of the royal household has really increased over the years, and we do need to rationalize to see where this money is going and how it's going. But I think the more important thing is to try and make the royal family more financially sustainable. Over the years, I think that particular budget line item has been abused to keep the royal family close to government, or at least in check, if I can use that in inverted commas. What we would want to see is more independence for the royal family, a support to make the institution what it wants to be. King Misuzulu has indicated that he wants to make the royal household more independent, more sustainable, to intervene and to be able to develop those areas under Ingonyama Trust and the Zulu Nation as a whole. So we'd want to play that supportive role as the Democratic Alliance-led government to ensure that vision can be achieved. And then ideas and plans around palaces and centres that want to be established become more easier to interrogate.
Thank you so much for your time. That is Christopher Pappas, who's representing the Democratic Alliance, speaking to us about the State of the Province address that was delivered yesterday by the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal.